Almost everything, including animals, humans, and entire societies, has been consumed by the vast Sahara Desert over the course of countless years. The Sahara is the biggest hot desert on Earth. Its endless fields of sand have proven to be an impenetrable abyss, swallowing people who go into its deep and never come back. In the past, whole troops would march off into the Sahara and disappear. We have only recently started to uncover the mysterious secrets that are once hidden within the Sahara's realm, secrets that are both numerous and fascinating. In order to decipher the mysteries of this particular region on the African continent, let's go on a journey through time. The word Sahara comes from an everyday Arabic word that means desert. The Antarctic desert is bigger than the Sahara Desert, which is a popular myth. But if you think of sand, heat, and sand hills when you think of a desert, the Sahara is the one that comes to mind. A vast land area of over 8.5 million square kilometers is covered by it, which covers almost a third of the entire African continent. The Sahara covers 10 African countries and is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, the Red Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea. Every year, the desert takes over another 5 to 10 kilometers of land to the south. Let's look at some of the most amazing discoveries that have been unearthed in the Sahara Desert's vast expanse. The Desert of Green. Did you know that the Sahara was once full of lush plants that could stand up to even the Amazon forest? New information has helped explain why the Sahara lost its humidity all of a sudden. To understand the beginnings of this intriguing story, we must journey back in time to a time between 11,000 and 5,000 years ago, after the last ice age. The Sahara Desert experienced a remarkable change during this transformation. Green plants grew on top of the sand mounds, and as it rained more, dry caves turned into thriving lakes. Hippos, antelopes, elephants, and oryx, ancestors of today's tamed cattle, which thrived on the abundant grasses and shrubs in this newly changed region known as the Green Sahara, drew a variety of animal species. The Sahara's change from green to dry began, however, approximately 8,000 years ago, when a shift took place. The Earth's tilt changed from approximately 24.1 degrees to its current 23.5 degrees, which was the cause of this change. This relatively small change in tilt had a big effect. Even though it tilts away from the sun, the northern hemisphere is closest to it during the winter months. During the Green Sahara, on the other hand, the summer was when the northern hemisphere was closest to the sun. No matter what, during the summer, the northern hemisphere of the Earth received more sun energy and heat as a result of this tilt change. This increase in solar radiation made the African monsoon stronger. The monsoon is a yearly change in the wind that is caused by temperature differences between land and water. The high heat over the Sahara caused a low-pressure system, which brought water from the Atlantic Ocean into the desert, which was previously dry. Usually, winds from dry areas blow toward the Atlantic, spreading dust that feeds the Amazon rainforest and helps make beaches in the Caribbean. But this flood of water turned the once dry Sahara into a steppe with grass and bushes. The region thrived as a result, with both animal and human populations. People started to tame cows and goats and even made the first signs and symbols. The Green Sahara appeared and disappeared so quickly, which is the most intriguing element for climate experts. In just 200 years, the area went from being very green to being a barren desert. The transformation of the land itself was abrupt and striking, in contrast to the slow change in solar radiation. This is a great example of a sudden change in temperature that would have been big enough for humans to notice. Whales in the sand. Imagine something that is impossible to imagine. Whales moving smoothly through the vast Sahara Desert. Evidence suggests that the ancestors of modern whales once inhabited the dry African desert, despite the fact that this may seem like a crazy idea. In 1902, a group of scientists went on a journey through Egypt's western desert. They had to find their way through wind-blown limestone rocks that had been shaped by nature over the course of many years. In the beautiful light of the moon, they came across something amazing: the preserved bones of whales. These skeleton marvels, some of which were 50 feet long and had vertebrae as thick as logs, were from a time when this region was covered by a shallow tropical sea, 37 million years ago. These long-gone giants could tell us a lot about how whales have changed over time, which is one of nature's biggest secrets. Paleontologists discovered intriguing signs of feet in the bones that had been sifted by sand. This result backed the idea that whales were once land mammals that changed over millions of years into sea creatures, losing their 4 legs in the process. As a reminder of their land-dwelling relatives, modern whales still have remnants of their back legs. The Wadi Heighten site in Egypt had an unprecedented abundance of whale fossils, including legs and knees, which gave a more full picture of this remarkable transformation than earlier specimens that hinted at it. Wadi Hidden, which is a few hours' drive from Cairo, is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site that gets about 14,000 tourists every year. The fossils in the valley illuminate the interesting journey of whales' land-dwelling relatives, which are thought to have been scavengers like deer or pigs that lived near the shores approximately 55 million years ago. These animals started going into the water. At first, they ate dead fish along the shore, but over time, they adapted to a life of hunting in the shallows. Whales evolved traits that were better suited for marine life as a result of this process, freeing them from the need to support their weight on land. They got bigger, and their backbones got longer and their rib cages got wider. The tale of the whales in the desert is a living example of how evolution has taken place over vast periods of time and in surprising places throughout the history of our world. River lost. Before, there was not a Sahara Desert. As was said above, the desert's borders have moved over millions of years as the temperature has changed. Scientists have focused their attention on figuring out the history of the Sahara in a manner similar to how they search for signs of water on Mars. Through a lot of study, scientists have found that the Sahara once had a huge river system that was the 12th biggest drainage area in the world. An underwater canyon cut by the river was discovered off the coast of Mauritania, where the remnants of this long-lost river were first found. Also, river particles were found in places that didn't make sense. Satellite images provided the conclusive proof of the existence of this lost river. This river, which is now called the Tamanrasset River, went unnoticed until recent technological advances made its past clear. This body of water, which may have dried up approximately 5,000 years ago, is still being studied in an effort to uncover more information. Skeletons. Paul Sereno came across the largest human graveyard in the Sahara during one of his dinosaur hunting trips. This important place, which is called Gobro in Niger, gives information about a time approximately 10,000 years ago, when the region was greener and lusher. The human bones found at Gobro are entwined with those of fish, alligators, and other animals, demonstrating the variety of life that once thrived there. Many of these discoveries were interesting because they were right on the surface of the sand. Approximately 200 human graves were uncovered after 2 years of careful excavation, shining light on the Kithians and the Tenarians, two different groups of people who lived in the area over 1,000 years ago. The two ancient groups that inhabited the area left behind remnants of their existence. Items like bone jewelry, arrowheads, and harpoons used for hunting in nearby waters were discovered. Some burials stood out for their odd nature among the intriguing finds. For example, one person was buried with their head in a pot, and another was put on a turtle shell. Even with these intriguing discoveries, there are still many questions about how these people lived and died. Craters in meteorites Earth has been hit by rocks and meteorites from space over and over again throughout its past. Most of these space objects burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere, leaving behind fascinating streaks of light. However, some of them do make it to the ground, and as a result, they have disastrous effects. Many of the craters left by these impacts in the distant past have unfortunately gone unnoticed because of erosion or the growth of plants. However, these scars continue to exist and draw our attention in desert areas. The Camel Crater, which is in the southwest of Egypt and is approximately 45 meters (148 feet) wide, is one remarkable example. This hole is a clear sign of where an iron asteroid hit the surface of the Earth almost 5,000 years ago. In these regions, however, more than just craters can be found. Near the Camel Crater, for example, pieces of the meteorite have been unearthed and spread across the sandy land as a result of the impact raking the celestial object into pieces. It's interesting that this finding is not a one-off. The Sahara Desert has proven to be a rich source of meteorites, with nearly 1/5 of all meteorites found coming from its vast sand. The Sahara is second only to the icy plains of Antarctica in terms of great meteorite hunting sites due to the stark difference between the desert and its surroundings, making meteorites relatively easy to spot. Now, which of these discoveries have you been most interested in? If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel for more intriguing material. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments section below.